Alejandro Garnacho to Chelsea might be one of the best pieces of business Chelsea do this summer. Hear me out, because I'm going to explain why. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at what Alejandro Garnacho could bring to Chelsea, why Enzo Maresca wants him, and why, despite everyone thinking it's a terrible move, it actually is just the opposite. £35 million. That is how much Alejandro Garnacho is going to Chelsea for. And I feel like context is really important here, because we are in a world where some teams are signing players of the ilk of Omari Hutchinson with around about 4 Premier League goal involvements for £40 million. So Garnacho, with his experience, and he does have a lot of experience at 20 years of age, he's played a lot of football, especially in the Premier League, for only £35 million seems like an absolute bargain to me, and it seems that even more so when you take a look at some of his statistics. He had 21 goal involvements in all competitions in one of Manchester United's worst seasons ever, and if you compare that against some of the players for Chelsea, it really does start to create quite the idea, because you've got Pedro Neto with 17, Gittins, who's just joined the club with 15, Sancho, who's obviously left, for 13. Now, if you just compare Garnacho and Sancho, that's a huge improvement in terms of goal involvements. And of course, Garnacho in a much better team is going to have much better ability to really up those numbers. He's only less than Cole Palmer by 5. That's really impressive. And then when you take a look at some of the major attributes that he's got, he carries the ball extremely well. The ability to pick up the ball and then drive with it. He has 141 progressive carries in the Premier League last season compared to Neto's 126. It really does give Chelsea that little bit extra oomph. But what I found most impressive is his ability to carry the ball into the penalty area. 67. Now, we've spoken about Jamie Gittins and his ability to take 1v1 situations and get into the penalty area and cause chaos, but Garnacho has more carries into the penalty area. It's really impressive and is much higher than Pedro Neto's 45. You can see where Enzo Maresca is starting to go with this, and it's pretty exciting. As we progress through the season, I think you're going to see a new look Chelsea, one that is more dynamic, one that is more direct, and one that utilises space that they create a lot better, essentially refining the protocols that have already been put in place by Enzo Maresca last season. And while they might look similar on the surface, what you're going to see is the ability for them to take space a whole lot better. So we know that the wingers spread really wide in Enzo Maresca's system, allowing for a player to move into midfield, spreading that opponent defence. But what they're going to use is the opponent's positioning against them, forcing them to drift over to one side and utilise the flanks when they're building possession. It's in this that Garnacho could have an absolutely pivotal role, the same as Jamie Gittins, because what you're going to see is the ability for one of the sides of the pitch to be drifting and grabbing the players towards that one side. It could be Cole Palmer, it could be Esteval, but then you're going to look for the ability for the players to start to switch the play. I'm talking about quick passing motions and quick passing movements to get it over to the opposite side. This is where Garnacho's party piece comes in, because his ability to carry the ball and drive with it at pace, at speed, will unlock defences in a whole new different avenue. The directness of play that he has and that Jamie Gittins has could really unlock a brand new, more direct, really quite exciting Chelsea attack. And it's Garnacho's directness of play and his ability to take space that I think is really going to push this Chelsea side forwards. We can see him here out on this left-hand side after the goalkeeper has played it over. This is in a Manchester United game against Brentford, and we can see as Garnacho just brings the ball down, he lays it into midfield and then is willing to go forwards and take the space on his left-hand side. This is exactly what you want from a winger, but the dynamic way that he does it just made me think of the way that he could play 1-2s with Cole Palmer, with the likes of Enzo Fernandez, the way he could take the ball and just drive into that space. This is space that will be offered to Chelsea at times, and the way that teams want to play high lines and the way that teams want to defend, even against the better teams, the likes of a Liverpool, the likes of an Arsenal, the ability for a player to take this kind of space is really special and really important. The ball gets played over the top, and then it's about Garnacho following onto that run. As he follows onto it, this is a really key and important moment. He looks up, he looks towards his right hand side, even though he's not really expecting players to get into the box, because that's just not what Manchester United did last season. But we know that the likes of Liam Delap will, we know Joao Pedro will get into the box, and you've got late runners, especially the likes of a Pedro Neto, out on that far side. He goes forwards and he plays a fantastic cross across the face of the goal. It just is a low-driven cross, really, really well done, and he gets an assist for it. It's that dynamic play, that willingness off the ball, but also the quality on the ball that could really change the game for Chelsea in certain moments. And then there's something that I don't think people have quite thought about, or at the very least not really considered all too much, and that is the season is very long and rotation is extremely important, and I'm sure a lot of people have already thought about the idea of rotating teams around when you have specific games to come up. The season is long and it requires a lot from the squads of the top teams. But what isn't normally thought about all too much is within the games themselves. There is rotation that is required within game states, and sometimes different opposition require different opponents, and sometimes different personnel are required. But in Enzo Maresca's system, I would argue to say that the wide positions are, if not the most important, then 100% one of the most important. And that's because of the amount of effort you're asking from them. You need them to be taking those 1v1 duels continuously. You need them to be dominating these wide areas. You need them to be dropping, moving into spaces, and then carrying the ball forwards, getting those central midfielders into play. But once you hit something like the 70th minute, once you hit that, you're starting to see the opposition just drop a touch. You're starting to see them find those pockets of space. The midfielders are starting to really control the game, but you're not finding that breakthrough sometimes. And in those instances, when the opposition does drop back, when they drop those yards, you need extra oomph, you need extra power, and that is where Chelsea's game plan comes in. That is where their trump card comes in. Estevao and Garnacho, whether it be for Gittins or Neto or vice versa, the ability to swap out both of your wingers and then have not only a difference in play, a difference in style, but a difference in intensity is extremely important. And once the opposition drops back even further, you start to get a new avenue unfold. Once you have those midfielders move into the penalty area, those Chelsea midfielders, you're dropping the opponent's line, but you're also able to utilize the space in front of the box. And it's these areas that I believe Estevao, Cole Palmer and Garnacho, more importantly in this particular instance, will be able to take advantage. Garnacho has one of the best strikes from outside the box, and if he's able to refine that to become that little bit more consistent, it will take Chelsea to a whole new level and make them nearly unstoppable down those wide areas with the potential rotation that they could have for the rest of the season. But as well as his dynamism, his tenacity on the ball, he also has an X factor, and that is his ability with the ball from the outside of the box. We've seen him score some crazy goals, and we've got to remember, guys, he's only 20 years old. He can grow into that Chelsea shirt. He can understand the role that Enzo Maresca wants from him and then start to refine his game a little bit more. Take this goal that he scored against Brentford. He plays a 1-2 with Christian Eriksen that's just off your screen currently. He comes into shot just now, and he's going to get the ball back. But what's really crucial is after he plays that pass, notice his movements and his mannerisms right here. He's asking for the ball to be played in front of him. He understands what he wants, and it's this zone that we spoke about just a second ago, just in front of the penalty area. Because the opposition has dropped, it's in these moments that you're going to be able to get those real instances to be able to take shots from the outside of the box, take those moments, take those high pressure situations and attempt to make something out of them. And it's in this instance that he does exactly that for Brentford. He is too quick for them to be closing him down. He manages to get a shot, and it is an absolutely sensational strike. It is a wonder hit towards the top right hand corner. It's absolutely sensational. It is a quality hit and just showcases his X factor, his talent, his ability. And he looks pretty good in blue, doesn't he? But of course, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you make of Alejandro Garnacho to Chelsea? I think it's a pretty brilliant signing. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.